Cool. So, hello everyone. My name is Liz from Course Report, which is a resource for finding the coding bootcamp that's right for you. So, if you haven't looked at Course Report yet, use our directory to find schools that fit your needs. You can check out our blog for interviews with students and instructors and founders at bootcamps across the world. And we also have like application tips, webinars, all that good stuff. So I get a lot of questions about online mentored boot camps and how far you can really take your education online. So today we are joined by Kervins Valcourt, who did the Bloc iOS apprenticeship. And Kervins is going to answer some questions about his experience at Bloc, working with a mentor, and he's also going to take us through a project that he made while he was at Bloc, and another one that he created after he graduated and he's working on now. So Kervins is now an iOS developer at Hearst, which is super legit, so we're really excited to hear about his story. So I want to remind everyone that we have a really sweet deal with Bloc right now. So if you use the promo code Course Report, you'll get $200 off your next Bloc apprenticeship, so take advantage of that. And with that, let's get started. So first, Kervins, introduce yourself and maybe start by telling us what you were up to before you started at Bloc.
So I'm Kervins, and before Bloc, I was working with big data. So I was working big data visualization at ukes.com. So that was like a high-end retail. And halfway through the first year working there, that was like my first job after college. Out of college, I was just like, I'm not into this anymore. So, and I knew gone.
What did you study in your undergrad?
Undergrad, I studied. Had a minor in computer science, and applied mathematics was like my main degree.
How did you get that first job in like big data? Like, were you recruited out of college?
Not really. I guess I was reached out to on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a lot of code related for like big data, like R, so taking a lot of data and then like visualizing it. That's what I was doing before.
So you had like a very, like a pretty technical background before you started at Bloc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been good at math, so that was my passion. So I was math all the way, and then computer science comes with it. What
made you want to switch to iOS and like start designing for iOS?
When I noticed I spent more than 70% of my time on my phone. So I was just like, I'd rather do this than like, because looking at numbers every day was like really boring. So I decided, I was like, I'd rather do something that I enjoy doing naturally. So then I ended up being in iOS.
So you were at Ukes. Did you quit your job when you started Bloc, or did you do both at the same time?
Oh, I quit. Like I'm a risk taker, so I believe like going full on for your dreams. So we went to the company was cool because they flew us out to Italy, but like I knew halfway through the year I was gonna quit as soon as I came back from Italy, so I quit right after Italy.
You must have like really wanted to make a job change, because that sounds like a pretty cool job.
No, it's not that I wanted to make a job change. It was like, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, it's not worth it. Like a job could be, I really like money wise. I guess like it doesn't matter to me. I think I'd rather do what you want to do than do nothing. Than do something that you don't really want to do.
Yeah. When you decided that you wanted to start doing iOS development, was your motivation in doing Bloc to like get a job as a developer and like work at a company, or was it to like launch your own product? Like, did you have that sort of motivation going into it?
So when I first got into Bloc, my main thing was like I wanted to learn iOS just cause. I knew that if I learned it, I'd probably end up doing a job in it, but and in turn, I wanted just to make apps, just to show everybody I made apps, because I think like developers now are like the modern day artists, and they could just show off their stuff. And so I'm in New York, so every time in Brooklyn you go to and you see an artist, and it's just like, oh, I made this painting. I'm like, oh, I made this app, So it's like, I think that's pretty much cool. Showboating was part of it, so not really for the job, but then the job, I guess I had to pay bills, so that's what I would do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome that you can like use creativity in sort of a new way. That's awesome. Why did you decide to do an online program instead of an in-person boot camp? Like, what factors were you considering? Was there a reason that you went with Bloc over a different program?
I like the first reason why I chose an online one besides it instead of an in-person one was because I had a pretty strong technical background before, so I didn't think it would be like a lot of the basic stuff like understanding like strings and like understanding like data structures and stuff. I already had those classes and I used them in my last job, so I didn't think I would need that much hand-holding. But I did like the fact that I was one-on-one, and that was really cool. So I figure I believe in mentorship is better than like being in part of a class because like honestly, I felt in college I didn't learn much. So like one-on-one with somebody I could talk to, I was all for it. So when I heard about Bloc, I did it. I went for it.
I love that because I feel like, you know, there are some people who are looking at a boot camp because they're total beginners and they really need to go like 0 to 60. But you know, for somebody like you who had some experience before, like it's cool that you were able to find something that sort of fit your needs. Did you look at other online programs in addition to Bloc? Like I'm thinking like Thinkful and you know, Career Foundry and some of these?
Because when I was looking for boot camp, I was looking for something immersive, like full on. And Bloc was the only one that said that they were immersive. And I just was looking at the profiles of some of the developers and looking near GitHub. It was like, okay, these guys are badass and they're immersive. And I was planning on quitting my job, so I thought that was the perfect fit. Everybody else was like, you know, you can meet like a couple times a week, or like we expect you to do 20 hours. Me personally, I don't believe you can learn much in only giving 20 hours a week. I think you have to give like a full like 80 hours or something just to really understand what you're doing. So.
Yeah, I think that like the mentorship aspect of Bloc is something that makes it really unique. So who did you end up working with? Did you get to choose your mentor?
Stan the man. Yeah, I got to choose. Stan was available, and I liked him because he had both. Was an Android and iOS, which is kind of like cool. Rare. So like he was like a unicorn, and like he had a sick personality. I liked him on Twitter, so I was just like, that's the guy.
Where was he based?
In San Fran.
Okay. Cool.
LA. Yeah.
LA on the West Coast though. How did y'all communicate most often? Did you do like Google Hangouts or Skype or?
I think our first time we did Google Hangouts, but then we were using this app called Screen Hero. And Screen Hero is just like we're talking. It's like a video. It's not video chatting at all. It's like video's gone, and just like he takes control of my screen, or I can see his screen.
Oh, cool.
And we talk, you know.
What was like the first week like at Bloc? Was it like, you know, installing your environments? Was it like doing basic stuff, or did y'all sort of jump into starting to build things?
So first week was like a mixture. It was basically everything that you just said the first week, because like I jumped in pretty fast because I had like a dev environment, but it was all the environment was really for like R and Python. So like I switched that out into iOS, download Xcode. And I was learning. I learned Objective-C on my own before.
Oh, okay.
So then when we were getting to the basics, like arrays, like dictionaries and stuff like that, and I kind of rushed through that, and he was like, "Whoa, you're like finished that already?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm trying to get to the point, trying to get to like, you know, like where the frameworks were," and then stuff got real.
When did it get real? Like, what do you mean it got real?
It got real when I started building stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when stuff got real. I was just like, yo, this is this is something I'm not used to. You know, like before I'm used to like I was always in the data structure realm, taking data out and then manipulating and visualizing it. But in iOS you actually build stuff. So like you're using data structures in a different way, right? And you're not really thinking in a quantitative way. You're thinking of like, okay, best practice of doing this and then receiving these datas and making sure it doesn't crash. So like that was like when stuff started like, yo, this is kind of hard, you know?
It's cool that you were like challenged doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I think My roommates were like freaking out because I never came out of my room, so that was that was pretty fun.
You were doing everything, like, I guess that's actually really helpful to know. Like, were you doing everything from your apartment? Is that like where you worked most
I
of the
was
time?
I was in my apartment until I started to go AWOL, and then I started going to in New York. There's like a whole bunch of coworker spaces,
Hmm.
so I went to coworker spaces, and that was cool too. I thought that was really important. I told them that might be a good idea too to suggest like go to spaces that where developers live.
Hmm.
So that's,
Yeah, that's really smart. I feel like Block and other programs, as they sort of evolve, will start to like create those communities for people offline as well as
mhm.
online. So yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Did you ever interact with students in the program? Like, were you part of like like a group online or not
Now
really?
I'm part of like an alumni group, but
Okay.
then I was always curious, so I was just like looking around on LinkedIn and
Hmm.
seeing who's doing what, and then follow them on GitHub or on Twitter or something and see what they post. I'm an avid poster about like every time something works, I'm all about it, so everybody has to know about it. So
That's awesome. How so once you started building things, how personalized or like custom did you feel like Block was able to get? Like, did you feel like there were things that you wanted to learn outside of the curriculum, and that Stan was able to sort of help you with those things, or like, how did
it
that
was
work?
it was first is very rigid because it's just like anything
Hmm.
you have to like learn the basics, and after that it was basically whatever you want to do. So it was like this mythical world. It's like whatever you want to do, and but like at that point I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just started like, okay, give me like some direction. So we made a couple of apps in that direction,
Hmm.
and then I think I really wanted to focus on like what makes you a super developer, like what makes you like better than the guy that said he was in a boot camp and wasn't as good. And then he was just like gave me concepts that I had no idea were important, like multi-threading, which I found that is a very important
What's
thing.
multi-threading?
So it's like, and it's kind of crazy because he did his like senior project on multi-threading. So multi-threading is that our processors right now is like when you hear like i5, i6 or whatever,
Hmm.
we computing is done on multiple threads. So it's like I guess imagine like multiple things going on your computer at the same time. And if you're, let's say like I'm pulling an image from Facebook or something, right? And you see that spinning signal,
Uh-huh.
if you're doing it on everything on one thread, right? You're gonna pause it. So like you feel like like sometimes you feel like your app is crashing,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's actually doing something. But if you put it on a background thread and you can just show that spinner, people are thinking like, okay, something's happening right now, but like it's actually happening in the background.
Yeah.
And then when it's finished, they pull it back to the main thread, and then you can see it and you can interact with it.
It almost like affects the like user experience, I guess.
Yeah, that was the main thing. That was a big noob. That's a big noob mistake. Like blocking the main thread is like a thing, and I didn't know until he was like, "Yo, there's a thing. Blocking the main thread is a big deal."
That's
And
cool.
yeah,
What you were talking about, like the first part of the course was sort of like the rigid, learning what you had to learn. What did that entail? Like, what technologies did you learn in the iOS course? Can you give us
like
like a quick
like
rundown?
I learned Get. I learned all my command line stuff. I learned about the frameworks, iOS frameworks, table views, web views, and all that. I learned about best practices that are done in iOS,
Hmm.
uh, and building models, building data structures, using data structures as well, and ideas like program was it design patterns, and like basically what a developer does like on a day to day. So
Yeah.
that was like the rigid stuff. So let's see what else is there. I learned like cool. I didn't learn about cool tools until I got into work, but I learned about like Cocoa Pods, which is like shows like gives us like done pieces of code that we could use on our code to
Hmm.
help build our apps faster. And yeah, that's about it.
In terms of like how you learned that, does Block give you like, is it all unique content that they're giving you to learn, or are they like giving you other resources around the web that you're supposed to like sort of get through?
So it was a lot of unique content. So they have a
Mhm.
lot. So I did a lot of reading. So it was like a lot of unique content. But then they make it a point to just like, and I made it a point too, just like to like branch out to see what
Mhm.
else is going on. Because if you don't, that's the thing that you're gonna learn to do like in the development world anyway. You have to be current, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
know what's going on. So. Um, you could have just stayed inside the Block ecosystem and
Mhm.
been fine. And they introduced, like, showed you how to search through Stack Overflow for
Mhm.
answers and submit problems and so on and so forth. But like, if you left the ecosystem, you would, I think it would become more richer because you see what are people doing currently. You know?
Yeah. Um, Obviously, like R and Python and your work with like big data was different than working in iOS. But did you ever like feel like you were able to use your past experience when when you were
Yeah.
learning iOS or
I
like
mean, my favorite part was my best, strongest access. I guess like ability was algorithms.
Mhm.
Um, and that was all math for me. It was just like figuring out like a faster way of doing something, and then
Mhm.
like those concepts were like came quickly to me. I think that helped me a lot because I did it naturally in my other job just because like it would take too long, right, to do certain things, or like when I learned about like quick sort, merge sort, all the stuff that we don't ever really use day to day, but I was able to pick it up quickly. So when they say this is slow, figure out something that's faster, I was just like, okay, no problem, I got this, and
You
that's
honestly sound like a unicorn. How many, so you quit your job to do Block. How many hours a week would you say you were spending on it?
I guess like every waking moment, I guess like I think I worked on it every day, and I did at least 12 hours a day, except like I would go to the bar on Saturday nights, and then Sundays I'll be wrecked. So like so
That's really intense. 10 to
yeah.
12 hours a day.
Yeah, but you lose track of time,
Hmm.
really. It's not like I made it a point. Like, I mean, before I was just like, okay, let's do like as if I'm at work. But then sometimes you get stuck in a problem and you just want to fix it,
Hmm.
and then like you look at it, it's like, oh crap, it's like 10 o'clock, And I woke up at 10 o'clock, and I started doing this at 10 o'clock, and I was just wow, I spent the whole day doing it.
I mean, that's fair. If you're going to quit your job, you might as well throw yourself into something. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay, so I think what people want to see is, can you tell us like about a project that you worked on while you were at Block? And if you can, just share your screen and show us
Yeah,
what you.
sure.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
It's gonna come up.
It's an iOS simulator, yeah.
The simulator, yeah. Just waiting. Got so much stuff on it. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So boom. So one of the biggest projects I made, and then that's when I realized like, well, I could definitely do this. Was I rebuilt Instagram, and I was like, crap, man, I wish I built Instagram. It wasn't that bad. So like, this is my Instagram account, and you could this is like actual photos from Instagram,
Hmm.
and then like you see their likes, and then if you like something, so if I like it, you have like this. Let's see if we got it. Sorry, it's better if you're on the phone, but you can like
Hmm.
something. You could hit comment or whatever, but you can't comment. That's one thing. The Instagram API won't let you comment on their stuff, but we like simulated us commenting or whatever, type whatever keyboard. If I was on an iPhone, you would be able to take pictures, but so this is like a simulation. It's just like going
Hmm.
into your iPhotos,
Hmm.
and you can post something. Um, yeah, and that's basically it. And
All
you can say
right,
like,
Lena Dunham's getting ready for Passover.
yeah.
Cool. What like how did you build this? What technologies did you use to create
All
it?
this is Xcode, Cocoa
Okay.
Pods. Um, yeah, basically everything I do at work right now. Yeah, it's Xcode, Cocoa Pods, all get using my terminal. I have GitHub to put all my repos out, and and that's basically, yeah. And a lot of time coding, a lot of time coding.
How long did it take you to make it?
This one took me about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or something like that. Yeah, but this is like me going all the time because there was like every time I had like an error, like what's going on? What am I doing?
Were these all things that like you learned in class, or did you ever, or in class at Bloc, or did you ever like run into things that you hadn't learned, and how did you deal with that? Did Stan help, or?
Stan helped a lot, and we went to. He just showed me how he would solve it, and then that's when it became That's when I realized like it's like coding is not that bad. It was just like, okay, he doesn't know, and he would just be like, all right, I'm gonna go online and look on it. I was like, oh, thank God. As opposed to like the rare super geniuses that know all of everything on top of their head. So it made it. I felt like the experience was more human, you know.
Yeah. Well, it can be more important to like know how to solve something than it is to like hear the answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. Can you tell us about like one of just like an example of something that like a problem that you ran into? You were like, I have no idea how to do this, and how y'all sort of got over that.
Let me see. Oh, like the part of the keyboard. To snap to the end of it, right? That was a problem. It was just like, how the hell are we going to get this to work? Like when you hit the keyboard and it snaps to the end of it. And then it was like a math problem-esque, and I was just like, okay. He was just like, well, let's look online to see if there's like a pod that does it. If not, like let's like do the math. And then we couldn't find a pod, and then we did the math, and I was just like, oh, if it's math, I got this. And then like we were able to figure it out, and I was like, it was that took us a session, so it was like an hour to figure that out. Yeah.
I bet Stan learned a lot from you too, Kervins.
Yeah, we still hang out.
Yeah.
Like I talked to him the other day because I'm working on this app, and I just got his advice on how to do something. And while I was doing the program, I went to LA.
Oh, cool.
I went to LA, yeah, because I have a girlfriend in LA, and I was just like, "Yo, Stan, what's up?" And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you said that Stan helped you with something on this new app. So can you tell us about that one? What have you built since you graduated Bloc? What are you working on now?
Oh yeah, so my personal app that I'm working on is called Subscriber, and so what it is just a hub that holds all your subscriptions in one place, and you're able to discover, manage, and pause and resume all your subscriptions in one area. And we just we're about finished. I have a demo I can show you guys.
Show us this. I think I looked at it before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll show you guys the demo, and we're finishing up like this weekend, end of this weekend. So it's still like, let me bring it up.
How did you find the people that you're working on it with?
Went to school together. We're all engineers. So one of my best friends, Carlos, he's a back-end guy. My friend Jesse, I convinced him to he studied for psychology, but I said like, you should definitely come to tech. And then he went through a boot camp too, and he's a developer as well now.
That's awesome.
And Joey, I met on Twitter. And,
cool.
Because like while I was in the boot camp, tweeting about like all the stuff that we built. And we've been working on it together.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like a huge part of doing a boot camp online or in person is like maintaining that community once you finish, and like while you're there, and like making sure that you're taking advantage of all of the sort of, resources and like community resources that there are, especially in the dev community. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. Do you do like, since you've graduated, do you do like hackathons or like meetups? Do you stay active with any of that stuff? You do everything?
I feel like I don't sleep.
Doesn't seem like it.
I just got I've met a lot of mentors while doing this, because you go to meetups and you tell people where you're at, and just like, and it's very friendly. Like everybody's just like, like, hey, it's gonna help me going after the basics again. So like, and then they'll have a project that they want you to hop on. Like my friend just made the Drizzy app, and that just went viral the other day. It's like at 1 million downloads right now.
Yeah.
And it's like the app that like you send Drizzy lyrics, Drake lyrics, like log in with Facebook and Twitter, and you can log in. Then these are possible subscriptions that we'll have. We haven't talked to these guys yet, but it'll just give you an idea of what it is. And you could click on it and see how many people are there. You could view how many packages, what kind of packages they have. You could see their latest comments. And then let's just say you want to subscribe to this bad boy, right? And you could scroll and you can see how many different boxes or packages they have. Sign up, purchase, and then let's look at all our subscriptions. We actually just talked to the guy from Pigeon Box, and he's excited about it. So he said he's definitely on board. So that's always fun to hear.
That's awesome.
Somebody like, yes, we're about it, and yeah, and that's basically it.
So then will you just like use all of their APIs, or will it be more sort of
So we had to figure out that solution. That's a problem that we're figuring out right now, because I guess that's why it hasn't been done before. This is the first time it's been done. Let me take this off. And we just talked to him, and so we're gonna do like it's almost like an API, but like not as pretty. And we got it from a friend of Joey. The idea is like call we're just gonna send out HTTP requests and crawling the site. So like basically how you ever try to buy tickets and somebody bought like 1 million tickets already before you. It's basically like they created a bot, and that's what they're doing. And so like we could do that, and he's gonna create us a master account, and we could just like add him on. But we're trying to figure out a way that could scale. Like maybe we could create a web platform and they could use it or something like that. Or they give us APIs, that'll be dope.
That's so cool. Well, as an avid subscriber, maybe an addict, I will I will appreciate that app. That's really neat. You're planning on putting it live in the App Store at some point?
Yeah, so the app we're going to be beta testing it next week, so I'll send you a beta test.
Totally.
But we'll probably launch it after we have like 10-15 guys on board, so it doesn't look empty, and then see what happens from there.
I think that it is a really good idea, and it looks great, and looks like it's simple to use and awesome. So once it's in the App Store, we will totally tweet it out to Course Report and make sure that people can download it.
You should tweet my friend's app, Drizzy app.
It was on Product Hunt a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I'll tell him like, yo, I'm getting a special tweet for you.
Okay, sweet. Yay. Okay, so the subscribers, what you're working on, sort of in your spare time. How did Bloc sort of prepare you for like a career after a boot camp? Like, what are you doing full time? Where are you working? Tell us like all that good stuff.
Okay, yeah. So I'm right now. So it was kind of crazy. So it was like bananas after I decided to start looking for work. It was just like every day you get phone calls. It was just like, come on. I guess it's because we're in like a very tech hub. We're in New York, and I imagine California is the same way because I was getting a lot of people from California, and Austin as well. So what Bloc did was they had like this 1 month extra to like prepare you for interviews, and I got really close with the director of iOS development, Aaron, and we were just talking, and then he would just ask me like coding questions. I was just like, yeah, I know that. and
like questions you would be asked in an interview.
Yeah, all the questions I would ask on the interview, it helped a lot. But I was, I think since I was so into it, it was just like questions that I had on myself, just like because when you're in especially a junior role, they're not really trying to trick you. They're trying to like these are questions that you should have asked yourself already, you know. And he prepared me for that. He actually introduced me to one of his friends that he met through a meetup for an interview, and they extended an offer, but it was in Chicago, and I got like when at that time I had like 3 other offers at the same time in New York, and so I just I picked the one with the most senior guys in there, so I can learn a lot, and I'm at Hearst, and it's been pretty cool. The culture's really cool there, and it's been fun.
What's your official like job title at Hearst?
iOS engineer, super blown up title.
What are you working on, like a specific product there? I mean, Hearst is huge, right?
Yeah, Hearst is massive. So like I'm working right now on, they're building so much stuff, but right now I'm working on newspapers. So they're completely redoing the newspaper app to compete with like their bigger competitors. So that's my main thing right now. So go on.
No, go ahead.
I think all this week I was just working on share buttons and stuff. So
I think it's really smart that you chose, like you had a bunch of offers and you chose the one with the most senior team so that you could learn a lot. I think that's like brilliant when you're making that decision. Do you feel like, is that how you sort of like learn the most in your new role, or like do you find yourself, you know, like what do you do when you run into something that you have no idea what you're doing, or does that ever happen?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. I think that's the job.
That's fair.
The thing that I do the most is, because I'm always coding, I always have questions. So like I gain a lot of mentors, and then I just ask my boss if I ever get stuck, and then we just talk it out. It's not really like he does it for me. It's just more like, okay, this is one thing I love about my boss, is just like he says like, well, there's several ways you could do this. I'm like, all right. He knows like every way, and then he will just like, and he won't tell you just one. He'll tell you like 5 of them, and then you go back and you think about it and be like, okay, duh, and then you can get it out. And then I've met a lot of mentors before I got the job. I have my friend Akil. He works at Mizamine, and they made an app called, he's gonna hate me for not knowing the name. Jesus, I don't know the name. I don't know. It's an app that like you're able to sing hooks to. It's like really it was pretty popular, and like after he built it, he had like 700,000 downloads or something.
Dang.
Yeah, Mizamine, I don't know. I can't find it. Yeah, but he was very into like multi-threading and like making sure code is clean. You meet like characters, like everybody that's like really into everything. And then I had other mentors. I have another mentor, Franz from Etsy, and he's really about like making sure you understand the importance of things to scale up, and like, because like it makes sense. Everybody's like focused on their industry, right? So Etsy, everything scales up. He's been pretty helpful.
Definitely.
And I think I have Luke. Luke is cool. Luke is like all about Swift right now. So he's the one that made Drizzy app. And he's
cool.
Like, yeah, he's all about Swift, because like that whole app was made in Swift, and he works at Spotify.
Awesome. I mean, it seems like you've made a pretty cool group of friends.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta take your career. I think you gotta take your career by. You can't rely on everybody. Like, even though you might have to graduate somebody that has a great acceptance rate, or like, you know, you get a job, whatever. I think it's really about you that makes your career where you're at. Like, can't handhold through that. So
totally. Did you want to stay in New York? Was that like really important to you? And I guess like, why? Like, what do you think is like special about the New York tech scene? I know it gets like a lot of sort of, you know, it's like getting a lot of attention now, but like, do you think that it's?
I mean, I was born and raised in New York, so I'm like naturally into like the meanness of New York, right? Like, I love the douchiness of it. Like, Uh, you know what? I never really thought about leaving New York. I think about it. Like I got a call from Google for an interview, but then they were saying I would have to go to Mountain View, and then the interview was going to be like a month. I was just like, I don't know. I was in California, and LA is cool, and San Fran is really, really chill, right? But like, I guess I just like the hustle and bustle of New York. I could see myself going to California like sometime in the future, but not now.
Totally. Well, okay, Kervins, I don't want to keep you here all night, so I guess I've got one last question for you, which is really basic. Just, was Bloc worth the money? Would you do it again?
Every penny.
Yeah.
Every penny. Double it. Why not?
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Kervins. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. I will put links to Subscriber, and when that launches, we will definitely give our list a shout out and let them know that it's live.
Awesome.
To everyone who's watching, don't forget to use code CourseReport when you're registering for your next Bloc apprenticeship for $200 off, and we will see you at the next Q&A. Have a good one.